Welcome to Dreaming Jaguars. This is not the intro we planned. I forgot to press record on the camera like a divvy twat. So I'm now down the beach in the snow, in the cold, getting this intro done. Big news. The website is now live. www.dreamingjaguars.com. The shop is live. You can order garments. As we said before, RN Voot is organising the garment printing and creating. We've got our own stuff on there as well. We've got his stuff on there as well. It's going to enable us to really just, take this channel to the next level. Production will go up. We'll have more time. It's what we want to do, and I think we're going to make a good job of it. So that is the first portion of the video, is that the website is live. Also, we've got a Patreon account. That's www.patreon.com/Dreaming Jaguars. Go check that out as well. We're going to try and get to grips with that. We haven't really, ever used Patreon before, so we've got to get to grips with the system, but we'll do that in due course. So, any pledge is welcome. It's all going to go back into the channel, and so go check that out. Now, on to the video itself. Justin's Incedigris DMT boy trip report.
Just to set the scene, I laid back, exhaled as I usually do, said my mantras to calm myself down because of the fears and paranoia that onset instantly, and then found myself, the first visuals that came up was, is it Incedigris, Paul? Incedigris. I always forget that name, but those visuals are becoming very prominent for me in my recent steps through the mirror, if you like. Anyway, so the first thing I noticed was this kind of plaque on the wall with in the Incedigris style DMT colours, and it was more yellow and green, and then written over the top of it in red letters was the words "Warning, DMT," which, anyway, it then went on to your standard geometrics, and in my mind I'd just been looking at a picture that someone had posted on DMT history or something like that on one of the Facebook pages, and it was a picture of the human cell. I don't know if anyone's seen that picture, but it is very trippy. Lots of different colours in there, all the DMT colours, and then spirals and weird geometric shapes. Anyway, I started seeing what looked like this cell picture, and in my mind I was thinking to myself, is this me setting or dictating what I'm seeing from the picture that I'd just been looking at? And I was kind of wondering whether it was, and I kind of got some sort of feedback, strangely, that was saying no, it's not. And as I kind of left and went through the geometrics, I was kind of talking to something, but I forgot who I was. So in my mind, I could have pictured my body, if you like, if I'd have looked down in my mind's eye, but it was just me floating forward with my body behind me, and as I was moving through the space, something was there talking to me, and I was talking back to it, but I can't really remember what we were saying. But there was a little bit of, am I going to break through or not, or there was a little bit of me still there questioning what was going on. And so I kind of moved into this this different realm, and it was very crystalline, still with the green and blues and yellows and orange colours, but it was oblong patterns zigzagging across my visual, and within the oblongs were even more precise geometric colours and shapes which were moving, and for me there was no look at it and go through and it fade out. I was literally there looking at it, able to divert my gaze to other places and it all be static but moving, but not fading away. So I was able to actually observe what I was looking at, and it was quite intense. And I'm still questioning whether this is me making up this stuff in my own mind. And then I realised I was having a conversation with something, and I'm like, is that me? Is that my mind? And then the thing spoke back to me and said, is that you or is that me? Is it us? Is it them? Is it anyone? And then kind of laughed, and I felt as though I was given, because I couldn't quite see what it was, but I was telepathically given a picture of who I was talking to, and it was the DMT boy with like a jester's hat on, but he was kind of like the monkey, little battery monkey that bangs the cymbals together. And that's the picture that he wanted to show me. And as I was looking through the scene of what I was seeing, I identified in front of me, I was looking face on to a tombola. It's like one of them things you get in a church or a village or wherever it is, where they roll it and inside is either raffle tickets or ping pong balls with numbers on, and then, you know, it's like a bingo thing. And as I looked at it, it was like, I identified, it's like a holographic, a 2D hologram. When you twist that hologram, you see one shape, one picture, and then when you turn it slightly, it changes into a 3D image. So as I looked at it that way, it kind of shifted round, and I was looking at it side on, and it was backed up against the edge of the realm that I was in. And it was almost as though I knew that the DMT Jester Boy was behind the realm, twisting a handle, winding this thing up. And as he was winding this thing up, it wasn't firing out ping pong balls or nothing was coming out. It was like a number padlock on the side of it. Was, as he was winding it, was something was clicking in, like 3 or 4, whatever it was. But what was being given to me was this information, amazing information, and I was listening to it, and as he was turning it, and this information was being shown to me, he was going, "You got that?" And I was in my head, I was going, "Yeah, I understand that, yeah, I know that." And then the next one would come up, "You got that? Do you know that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I understand that." And it was like showing me all these amazing things, and because there was still this, I hadn't completely lost all conception of myself, so I was just at the right place to see everything, to take it in and look at it from my perspective, but being in the DMT realm. And he was laughing and giving me this information, and then I was like, I'm not going to remember it. He's like, just look, stop worrying about it, just keep looking at what I'm showing you. And these things kept coming up, and I think, I know one thing that he definitely wanted me to remember, and I'm not sure why, but he showed me the number 835, and I don't know what that was for. I'll worry about that later, and I'll try and worry about what the information, because I can't. But anyway, let's get back to where that was. Right, getting back to the story, I've neglected to mention some other stuff. So there was a lot of fear and stuff when I started questioning. That I could see this stuff, and I remember asking, "God, where's the blue lady then? Where are these entities?" And that's when this entity first made like contact with me, And he was saying, you don't see entities, you don't need to see entities, you just, you know, have a look at this. That's when I kind of drifted into the crystalline tombola area, and I was able to identify it. And that's when he showed me this like picture of himself. And I remember, like, I was arguing, is it me, is it my mind? And it was laughing at me. It was quite there was some, he was humorous, he thought it was funny because I was questioning this stuff. And I don't know if you remember, I've said before about this, the DMT boy putting his hand over the back of my head and touching me on the front of the forehead. Well, this time, when he put the picture of himself in front of me, I then kind of was able to understand who he was and where he was. But this time, because I was saying, is it in my mind? His big long hand and arm stretched out over, because he was quite some way away from me, stretched out over the top of my head and touched me on the back of the head, in the middle of the head this time. Anyway, so he's winding up this thing, he's giving me this information, he's saying, you know, have a look, do you understand it? And right there and then I knew I had this feeling, I understood everything he was showing me. I can't tell you what that is right now. I'm hoping it will come to me later on when I can take it all apart and rebuild it back together. But the tombola, crystalline tombola, clicking up information on the side of it that was being shown to me, and he was questioning me, saying, have you seen it? Do you understand it? And I'm going, yeah. And then I started worrying that I was starting to come out and I wouldn't be able to remember this stuff. And I think I opened my eyes and thought, I don't want it to end right now, because I was really getting some information. So I shut my eyes again, and he was still there. But as he was giving me this information this time, winding the handle from outside the realm, as he was giving me this information, it was coming up, and I was looking at it, and I couldn't understand it. And I felt quite annoyed, even though there was still resonance. I could still recollect some of the stuff he'd already showed me. What he was showing me now was making no sense. And he kind of just laughed, and he's like, you're searching for this, you want this information, but you don't need the information. All you need to know is that it's all one thing. It's all one thing. And it just was like, when he touched me on the back of the head, it was like it had come from that. Very strange. But this information was still, the only thing I can remember is the numbers 8, 3, 5. And I'll be working around that to try and figure what that is anyway. But yeah, so then I wanted to stay in that place. It was starting to drift away, and then somebody was filming it on a GoPro, and the battery died on the GoPro, and it bleeped like 3 times, and that instantly just ended the whole thing. So then I was just kind of like back in with the residue visuals of open eyes, looking at the room, which wasn't the room, and figuring out and feeling quite remorseful that all that information that had been given to me, I now couldn't remember a flipping thing of it. It had all just drifted away back into the state where it is when you go in that place. You kind of know what it is, and then when the human brain comes back in, or the ego, or whatever that is, all that information is so out there that you can't comprehend what it was you were just understanding. And I think what Gallimore is talking about, when you can keep yourself, because I was almost in the perfect place where the entity was there, I was conversing with the entity, he was definitely trying to give me some information, and yeah, all that information was understandable. So the theory that Gallimore says that if you can keep yourself at that perfect place for longer periods of time, eventually it's going to be, that information is going to be easier to lock into your brain and then bring back out. But we'll see where that goes, and we'll see what those numbers mean over time. we'll see how that affects what I've been thinking about recently. But anyway, immense. One of the best ones I've ever had. That was one of the best delves in where there was no confusion. I fully understood what was going on. I had a full-on, full-blown DMT entity encounter, which was, there was no malice, but there was definitely a jester-type humour where there was no malice towards me, but there was definitely a mocking element of where they know so much and they were trying to feed me this information, but the information wasn't able to be locked in. But yeah, I'm seriously looking forward to my next adventure.
There you go. That was an exquisite report from Justin. It was a heavy one. It was amazing. Incedigris seems to be.
He's my new buddy.
The Incedigris entity seems to be. I mean, that's the thing in itself, isn't it? Right? Incedigris has drawn that inspired by a DMT experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to say that that entity that he is so well portrayed is not an entity that you have now encountered.
No, and when I was looking for the pictures of him again earlier, there's a load more DMT artists out there.
Yeah.
That have started up.
Yeah.
And there's a load in Brighton, which is just down the road from us, obviously.
Yeah.
And a few of those, I mean, when I first looked at them, I've gone, they've just ripped that fucking Incedigris off.
Yeah.
But who's to say that they haven't had
That's what I mean.
DMT and encountered that same?
Yeah.
And it was definitely the boy, but he was a jester this time.
So there you go. Incedigris boy. Blue skin ladies. They're starting to come through.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like the video. Please like the video. It does the algorithm a huge favour and does us a huge favour. Please like the video if you like what you see, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification button, and we will see y'all
In a week.
in a week's time, baby.